Welcome back to the Isn't That Rich podcast. I'm your host, Ashley McVicker.
I'm Jill Franks.
And I'm Jared Gravatt.
And today we are talking about pricing your work when it feels personal. So Jill, Jared, and I all kind of have our own little side hustles, and we've been having this conversation for like ever, I feel like, but it's all about pricing your work and how to do that when you feel like it's something you love and you maybe feel like you're asking for too much. I mean, it just can get tricky sometimes. So we're going to talk through this, talk about the emotions behind it, and then give some practical tips about how you can price your side hustles and not feel bad about asking for a certain amount.
Yeah. So Ashley's right. We all started this little conversation in our office and talked about our side hustles. So I own this like glamping event business, and Jared has a photography business, and Ashley is a makeup artist on the side. And this spring we all have kind of been busy with that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I always feel weird when I have to tell people what my price is. Don't you guys?
Right. Oh, every time.
And it's so weird because we talked about this yesterday. You love what you do, and you feel like it's a gifting, and you're like, I shouldn't be charging people for this, but you don't realize how much money you've invested into something or time, and it is a job.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and well, I think like with us, what's been interesting is like, you know, we have like our main hustle, which is it's marketing, working for the bank, but then we have like our little side hustles. And so this is really for those people that maybe have like a big main hustle, bread and butter, but you do like a little side hustle on the side that's not as much, and so you haven't like put the energy into like really branding yourself and putting a lot of like stamps on everything. It's just kind of something that maybe has grown through like word of mouth and like that kind of stuff. So This is all stuff that we've kind of wrestled with over the past few years and stuff that we've kind of learned along the way.
So let's talk about why pricing feels so personal. Jill, you go first. Tell us, like, when you're booking a glamping event, how you feel when you have to tell someone the tent is X amount of dollars.
So first of all, it took me a long time to get up the courage to post anything online that I'd have this service. So originally,
that's like a whole nother thing.
I mean, so originally our granddaughters came over. I teach yoga, and we had this yoga retreat years ago. And so I bought this like little yurt tent, and the granddaughters came over. They wanted to have a sleepover at our house. And so I set it up, and I took a video of them like having a sleepover in this tent. And all of a sudden I had like 10 moms reach out to me. They're like, where did you get that? Will you set this up for us? That's so adorable. I'm like, okay, this is going to be something like, but it was so much work.
I'm an entrepreneur.
I'm onto something here. So I didn't even know what to say to them. But first of all, I was scared. Well, who am I to say like, why couldn't you just go buy a tent and set it up yourself? Like, it's nothing special that I have, And so
feels like anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the first lie. Like, well, anyone can do this.
Mm-hmm. Well, also I was kind of vulnerable in the fact that like everybody online is going to think I'm crazy, like starting this tent business. What are you doing, Jill? You're like this middle-aged woman who is like creating,
you have like a full-time job.
Essentially. Like you're a carny, and you're going to go set up these tents in like these little girls' yards. Like, I just felt like people are think I'm like this weirdo.
This is like a really great therapy session already.
So that's why for me, I was like, I just feel so weird doing this. I don't want to charge people. I don't really, I don't need to do this. It's just more of a fun thing for me.
And I think right there, what you're saying, I feel like there's this hesitation because there's this moment where you're like, is this something I can like commit to doing? So you're like, I don't know if I'm going to commit to doing this and like keeping up with it. So how much effort am I actually supposed to put into this and like charge people? And then one day I'm just like, I'm not doing the tents anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's it for you, Jared?
So tell me
about therapy session.
All right. Well, you guys are going to be listening to this for a while.
So what's personal to you?
So mine's like body dysmorphia, but for my work.
Jared, I've not heard you say that
yet. It's like, you're like, oh, it's not very good. Like, you're probably not going to like it. You sure you want to hire me? Like, I'm not that great. Like, I'll pay you for me to like take your pictures. Like, it like eventually like goes into that. Like, yeah, I'll shoot your wedding for free. Yeah, it's going to take 60 hours, but it's fine. Like, I'm not that great. And so, I mean, I've done that since I was like teenager. Like I've been taking photos since I was like in high school, but for so long, I'm like, yeah, I'm an amateur. Like it's that self-worth. That's like been my biggest like struggle is like, I don't see the value in what I do sometimes because I can get so critical of what I do and what I offer. And so I think other people are going to be the same way. It's kind of like body dysmorphia where you can be really like critical of how you look, but that may not actually be the reality of
how people see you.
Other people see you. So to me, it's that same thing. I have this like fear of like being rejected or judged, like kind of like what you were saying. Someone being like, oh, like that's what you're charging. Like you shouldn't be, you're not worth that type of thing. And so my biggest like struggle is like understanding my worth and my value and what I should charge.
Right. What about Ashley?
Yeah, I was waiting for one of you guys to ask me. Well, I'm honestly feeling a little, self-conscious on this podcast because I feel like you guys make more money than me and you guys have these cooler jobs than me. So, and you guys probably have like LLCs and stuff like that. Like I'm just, I probably shouldn't even say that on this podcast.
What do you do?
Cut this out. No, I do makeup. Okay. And I do think I'm good at it, but
You're good at it.
But okay, here's the deal with me. Like, I'm not a licensed makeup artist. Like, I love makeup. I have been watching YouTube tutorials since I was in the womb. I'm obsessed with it. And I feel like I just got more into it this year, like actually wanting to go out, do it, make money with it. Cause I was like, I am decent at this and I really like doing it. But I think like the combination of not being like licensed kind of, or having any type of professional, what's that called? Like education, certifications, anything like that. And just feeling like it's so easy for me to do makeup and I love to do it on myself. I hate when other people do my makeup. So I have this weird thing with like, well, why would you want me to touch your face and do that to you and make you look a certain way? Because I know that I don't like it when people do it to me. So I just can't believe people are willing to pay me to basically put something temporary on their face for a few hours. I'm like, no. So that's my thing.
So you feel kind of like an imposter.
Kind of just like, this isn't necessary. So why are you paying me? Because it's something you could totally do yourself. But then, I realize that some people just really like other things. Some people aren't good at photography. Some people aren't able to pitch a tent. Some people aren't good at makeup and they want to feel glamorous and they think someone else does it on them better. And sometimes it's true. That's my thing.
That's good. I think we should talk about, so whatever your side hustle is or whatever your thing is, it's not free. Like I'm thinking about what all it takes for me to set up a glamping event. Like it is break your back work. So I want to talk about what you're really charging for this and why, first of all, you need to charge what you do. So for me, like I said, anytime I set up this glamping event, I am packing up all this stuff, getting it out of storage, like it's furniture, beds, air mattresses, depending on the event. It's so much manual labor on me.
I know I've helped you before. It's that tent. I don't know how you do it by yourself.
Yeah. So it's a lot of work. And so around here, my fear is when I tell people the price, I set my price. I'll just say it. Like if I do a full on event, it's $450 for me to set up one tent for you. And that's for 6 people.
See, and I feel like that's kind of not that expensive, Jill. Like I feel like you could.
Well, and here's
isn't
the
that
thing.
weird? Like I'm like, oh, I would think you'd charge more for that.
Right. And I do in some instances, depending on the level, but that was my start. And my fear with that is like, who around Southern Illinois has $450 to throw at a little girl's birthday party or on like you know what I mean? Like, but it truly, in order for it just to cover my labor, it's a lot. Like not let alone set up and travel. And I mean, there's so much work that goes into it. So what about you guys? What are some of the things, the costs that help you determine the price that you charge?
I don't know. For me, I think I just asked other girls that did makeup in our area, like, what are you charging? And then I was like, I'm going to do less than that because I feel like they do a better job. And I was like, I don't do this a lot. And I feel like if I charge, gosh, I don't know. Like, I think I charged $65 for like my last homecoming makeup I did. And I was like, that's insane. But I think about how much, like, I mean, if you're a girl listening to this, you know how much product costs. Good product, too. Mm-hmm. I mean, gosh, you can spend $60 just on a bottle of foundation.
Right.
And I think with makeup, you know, people look different. Everyone has a different face, different skin tones. And so you have to consider all of that when you're purchasing stuff and all these different brushes and cleaning stuff. Like, there's a lot of supplies that goes into it. And so, like, I'm at that point where I'm like, do I just spend a couple $100s and buy a bunch more stuff, or just work my magic with what I've got, which is working for me right now? But, you know, yeah.
So when you go, do you use your own stuff typically, or do you use like the client
I
stuff?
have like I have some separate stuff, anything that's like, I guess like a squeeze bottle or something like that. And then sometimes I'll ask them to, like, you know, use their own mascara, but like, think about fake eyelashes, all that stuff you have to buy beforehand and then like incorporate that into the price, because gosh, by the time I drive to some of these places, it's like I'm not making any money for the day.
Yeah.
But I don't feel, it's like weird because you don't feel like makeup is worth, at least I don't.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what we're talking about today.
Right.
I think a difficult thing is, how do you put a financial value on something like taste, style, technique, skill, even like trends, like being up to date with that, like, because you do a lot of time in doing those things. Like, to have a really good like technique takes years of experience, you know. Even with taste and style, you're doing research, you're studying, you're practicing. How do you put value on that? I think that's a big struggle, but that's really what I think is valuable to people. And so, you know, I think with me, sometimes it's like, well, what would you pay for something like that? You know, or this. I think I've asked you guys that question like a million times of, what do you think I should charge for this thing? But you really do need to look at like your, you know, experience. Like, if you've had years of doing something, like, that has value. It's not just a matter of like the time that you're doing it. It's an artistry as well that you have to do it. And something like photography is like, you know, you may be taking photos for 2 hours, but it's like an iceberg. You know, the majority of your time is going to go into uploading and editing and all those kinds of things, which takes hours and hours and hours of work. So you have to take that into play. And then think of like, how much is your weekend worth to you? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're traveling to do an event or a wedding, even if it's like makeup or setting up for your tent, of like, you've now like dedicated your weekend to doing this. It's taking up like your day because you're driving and all that kind of stuff too. So
yeah,
it's hard.
It is hard. There's so much to consider in setting your price. We can talk about some of the ways in which or some of the tools that are out there that we've kind of decided on some of our prices. Like, for me, I know it's in this area, it's the only one I think that is doing anything like this, or I am the only one doing anything like this. But there are other services out there, or other people out around the country that are doing glamping events. So for me, I did just a kind of quick research, price compare about the other markets, and kind of set my price from there. And I also have different levels. For me, like, you can rent one of my tents, and if you have the rest of the stuff to put up inside it, you can just pay for me to come set up the tent and take it away, and that's it. Or if you want to do like just one bed, or if you want me to decorate it and make it a real experience, there are different levels and tiers that go up from there. So for me, the tiered system has worked. And then anything you want to add. So like, if you want to add an extra bed, it's $50. You know what I mean? So every little thing, you can itemize it to add more. You talked about using some tools too for how you set your pricing.
So one of the things that has helped me immensely is honestly ChatGPT. So I'll go in there and I'll say, so what is someone with this many years of experience, the average in this area. Like you like can really narrow it down, being like a headshot or a wedding, or like be it very like specific with what you're like wanting to do, and just say what's like the average charge for something like that. And then ChatGPT will literally come up with like a list, which is helpful because a lot of times like I follow a lot of like inspiring photographers on like Instagram, and like my work's very similar, but I don't know how much they charge. It's some industries are kind of more like private in that. And so it's like, I don't have the heart to like message them and try to pretend like I'm going to get their service just to get their price. But chat, I think, has done a really great job. I do a lot of like video stuff too, like online. And I didn't know they would reach out to me and they'd be like, well, how much would you charge for a video? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, do I charge like
and Jared's always like,
$10?
I'll do it for free.
Do I do it
like,
for?
I don't know. If you send me your free mail, I'll just
No,
like you
seriously.
literally have 50 million views on a video.
I did free videos for a while, but now like because of chat, I'm like with this many followers that I have and this blank, 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 and this long of a video, how much should I charge? And it will tell me, and you submit it and they're like, yes. And you're like, really?
I know that first time you were like, because I remember I pitched an entire, like all of my tents. I have a fleet of like 8 tents, and there's this festival going on in Murfreesboro or somewhere out there, and they're like, we want all of them. And I was like, what? That's like $10,000. Like, what? Me? What? Seriously? Yeah. And so and it was almost by way of like not wanting to do it or like not being 100%, I'm just going to throw out this number and see if they'll bite on it. And that's how I set my price for that event. I was like, okay, this is like an astronomical amount, but if you want to do it for that, sure. And that's kind of how
the thing. You never know what they're thinking on the other end, because think about so many things that, you know, we're the spenders at the bank. We're the marketing department. So I think about all the things that, you know, we have a budget for and we'll spend money on, and we'll get a price back about something for an event that we'll do. And we're like, oh, that's cheap, or that's expensive. I mean, I don't know. You know, it's just interesting being on kind of the other side of a company who will fork out the cash. But
a lot of times too, it's like, even if it's expensive, we're like, oh, that's expensive. I'm still going to do it.
What's your time worth?
You know, like for me, like I hate mowing. I don't mow my yard. I just think it's like the worst job ever. It's just weird.
He doesn't like the smell of grass.
I hate the smell of freshly cut grass. I'm sorry. I just hate it. I hate being outside. I hate humidity. I hate bugs. Like, it's just the worst. So like I hope he's not listening to this, but if he doubled his price, the guy who mows my yard, it would still be worth it to me. I'd be like, oh, that sucks. Still worth it because of that value. Now, you know, to him, he may be like, that's crazy. Like, why you would pay that for something like that, because I don't have a huge yard. But I think just some people, like, that thing is valuable, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's a great transition point. Is sometimes when you have a side hustle, you're like, I'm just going to do it for everybody. And even if it's a little job and another little job and another little one, you know, at some point, time is money. Everyone knows that. So let's talk about, you know, premium pricing for just maybe your bigger clients or people that will pay more, rather than just doing everything for everybody, because we know that that's not sustainable. And that's one of those things that you mentioned yesterday about, like, if you know, if someone charges you, or if you charge someone like so much money and you still hate going and doing it, it's probably not the side hustle you should be in, right?
Right.
Yeah. If you're looking at what you're charging and you feel like you have to charge, this is just personally, you know, 25, 30% more than the average for you just to get a little joy out of doing it, then you probably
maybe not in the right industry.
Just not in the right industry. Maybe you should look for maybe another hobby or side hustle that you enjoy doing. But that's kind of like my rule of thumb. It's like, if this doesn't give any joy, like for example, you know, weddings are hard. They're very stressful. I've thrown up with anxiety, multiple weddings, but you know, for me, I really have, you know, they're intense. And so, yeah, it's like should I come to a point where I'm like, man, I just don't want to do any
I
more
don't do
weddings.
wedding photography.
I don't do wedding photography because if I do, then I'm going to have to maybe charge out the butt to make it worth it for me.
Right.
I don't know. That's something that I'm currently kind of dealing with because weddings pay really well, but they're a lot of work, a lot of stress.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you what, I have never once charged for a wedding of what I really should be charging.
Yeah.
And I get why wedding photographers charge what they charge. I get it now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because of the stress that comes with it.
I think there's a price for everything. There's like that threshold. So you say if it's too expensive or if you have to raise your price to a certain threshold to make you want to do it, then you should be in the wrong thing. I think that's your threshold.
Okay.
Like, I think that's the price you should be at. I think the motivator should be at that cost. So if you think you are worth it, that amount, that's what you should be charging. I think that is what you're worth. And if your time is worth that to you, you will find the right customers out there to hit that. So if you think about a wedding photographer and you've never charged the right enough amount, Jared, it's because, my gosh, you've got to separate it out. I think this is the best tip for anybody thinking about pricing is you start with your basic and then everything adds on. So you could say, okay, I'll do your wedding ceremony and that is a flat fee of this. And that means I'll come 30 minutes before your ceremony, take pre-looks, and then I'll stay and get your wedding party after your ceremony, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Or I do an 8-hour service where I am there, I get the before the scenes, but that's going to be an upcharge of this. Mm-hmm. Also, how far away do you live from me? I'm going to charge you this much a mile for me to travel for you. Or if you're doing a destination, here's my big destination package. Like, I think the key to really making these side hustles worth it is premium pricing.
Yeah.
And it's got to be worth it for you.
It does.
Yeah.
And we say this at the bank all the time. Are you looking for, sounds cliche, but it's true. Are you looking for the best rate or the best value?
Yeah.
Because you like, let's say something like photography is like, you can find someone to like take your picture, but are you wanting to look beautiful in the photos? Are you wanting to look, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Do you want the photos to look timeless or do you just want your photo taken?
Right.
Because you can find the best rate anywhere. You really can.
Someone
you can find
will take your pictures.
Someone will take your pictures and they will charge you less than what I do.
Right.
Or are you looking for the best value? Do you want to look beautiful when someone's doing makeup?
Or do you want to look
different
than that?
A little different. You know what I mean? And I think that's something you have to like premium. People are willing to pay premium pricing because they want the best value. Value is important to people. And I think that's something as like a creative or entrepreneur or whatever, you have to tell yourself value is important to people.
Yeah.
But people are willing to pay for it.
Right. I think with you, Ashley, with your makeup, the same thing. I mean, here's your flat face of makeup. Like, this is your basic package. That includes this, 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 and this. Now, if you want those fake eyelashes, it's going to be this.
I did. And
Did you tell me about it?
Well, I was like messaging this mom on Facebook and I was like, but if you want me to buy the fake eyelashes, it's going to be a $5 upcharge. Are you kidding me? I'm like so mad at myself. It should be at least like $10.
Yes.
I know. But I was like, I am like, I can't believe I'm offering this because they can go to Walgreens just like I can and pick out whatever eyelashes they want.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what I have to realize? I know the eyelashes that do the best.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
I know the ones that stick on the eye the best. I know the ones that work on the eye the best.
Yeah.
These moms don't know.
No.
And these little girls, let me tell you what. They were dying for the eyelashes.
Yeah.
They'd never had them before. And
Yeah.
so I should have charged more for them.
I agree. I think you should have charged more for them.
No.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm just like, it's so much fun to me. And I still sit over here and I'm like, well, I can do it on my face. Why can't you do it on yours? Like,
Yeah. I have to tell you, I grew up with a mom who was very minimalistic when it came to makeup. I had no idea how to put my own foundation on until I was in college and lived with roommates who was like, oh, use this, borrow this, you know? I had no idea. So for me to have somebody come and do makeup, even to this day, I would literally pay somebody to do makeup for me just because I have still to this day, no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah,
So
I think
I
that's
see
so
the
funny.
value in it.
Because like my friend group too, like half of us are like Michaela. She's great at doing makeup. But then Kaylee, like she does not want to do hers at all. She's like, please, please, please do my makeup. And I just think it's so funny.
One of the things I want to share, and I think everybody deals with this, and you have to eliminate, this is like your mountain that you have to get over, is the mental thing that you hear in your head that says, no one's going to pay this for this.
Yeah.
You just, you have to do everything you can in your power to get that out of your mind and change that with like, somebody's going to pay this for this. I just need to find those people.
Right. Because that's what I was going to say. I mentioned that earlier. If someone's like, I'm not going to pay that, that's not your client.
They're not your people.
Not your people.
I think it's so important to determine who your ideal customer is too. Like you just said, who is the person that you want to get up and spend your Saturday morning doing makeup with? Or who is the ideal bride who's going to want the quality of work
and cooperate with you and not be like a bridezilla.
That's true.
Right.
And you don't want people that are going to trash your...
You're right.
No. So I've done events where, you know, like I've set up for this mom and they're literally the kids cut all the lines on my tents and then there was no offer to like pay for it, you know? So there are people out there who I would never do business with. And I've learned so much from experience though. And I think if you're starting out with these side hustles, you have to go through these trials and errors of pricing it too low, pricing it too high, pricing it just right after you figure it out. So experience brings so much knowledge with this kind of thing. And then just doing market analysis work and seeing what other people are doing. And if their quality is up to par with yours, or if maybe they have more experience and they're doing things a little differently, maybe price in the mid tier.
So I think that's a great point to move into like tools to price with confidence. And I would say we didn't put that one on here, but who's your ideal client?
Yeah.
You know, when we talk about marketing for the bank, we kind of have this ideal person and, you know, it has all of these qualities. And so when you're starting a business, it is like you, like you're saying, who do I want to do makeup on? Who do I want to take pictures of? Who do I want to set these tents up for? Because, I mean, some things just are not worth your time. So I would say that's the first tool in your tool belt that you need to use when you're pricing. And so then you're going to look at that client and say, how much do we think this person is willing to pay?
Yeah. I think the second tool would be ChatGPT, like Jared said. So find out what else is out there. Ask questions.
Type that person in ChatGPT and just be like, hey, this is my ideal client. What do you think I could charge this person?
Yeah.
You can make it as detailed as you want.
Yep.
Yep.
It's really true.
So I think another really great tool would be an invoicing platform to utilize. So whether that's HoneyBooks or it's AutoBooks is a tool that Farmer State Bank has within its banking platform. And then Square, I think, has an also really great invoicing platform. But you can build your products inside these invoicing platforms. And so it's set it and forget it. So if somebody says, what is your pricing or what do you charge for your services? All you have to do is say, okay, what would you want? Here they are, plug it into this invoice, send it to them. And they can say, oh, I don't want that extra bed, or I don't want you to do this boho chic, like decorating, or Ashley wants to put eyelashes on. You can create these invoices.
We don't want your $5 lashes from Walgreens, Ashley.
And so then your pricing is just there. Like there's no arguing with it. It's like, okay, it's black and white. Like,
yeah, that's good.
Right. And I feel like you struggle with that, Jared, because you'd be like,
yes.
And Jill told you so many times, she's just like, put it on an invoice sheet, set it and forget it.
Or like have, maybe your side hustle is not big enough where you need like a website, but at least have a binder or a piece of paper that has your pricing on it. I think that's been like one of the biggest lessons for me, because I didn't have it on a piece of paper or on a website. It would fluctuate based off of how confident I was feeling when that person approached me. And that's not okay.
No.
Like just get it on in a system, whether that's Square or AutoBooks or whatever. And that will help you, because then you can say, oh yeah, I'm just going to send you a link to my pricing sheet. This has everything on there. If you have any questions, let me know.
yes.
And it's already established.
Yeah.
I think just even if, like you said, if you're not ready to invest in a website yet, social media is great. Facebook's great because you can actually, like, I know when you go look even at a restaurant, you can click menu and they have just a digital form of their menu, and you can make a menu of your services. So I could make all my makeup things on there and just post it right there, and so people can just go check that out.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's great. So starting with those 3 tools that we talked about are an awesome way to get started. If you are ready to move on to the next level, so say Jared's photography business, like it is, continues to take off and you're getting to the point where like you need to legitimize yourself, I think website is a must.
Yeah.
I think the next step is like, here I am, this is what I'm about, here are my prices, do you want to book me? Like having even a calendar
that's good.
on your website might be amazing. For me, I can only book 1 gig a weekend, right? Because all my inventory will be out. So being able to have a calendar on your website that says, or a place where people can inquire is so important. So I think website would be like the next step. What about you guys? Any other tools that you've used so far in your businesses?
No, I think, just having a visual, a menu, if you will, of what you offer is super important that you can give to people because they want that. Yeah. That's what, and it's going to make you look more credible too. If you have those things and a brand, than just being like, I'll text you how much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the next thing after you've figured out your prices is, lo and behold, everybody knows this happens, and this is, I feel like, a hot topic for you, like the friends and family discount. So you have your stuff set. Well, now so-and-so, your cousin, wants you to shoot their wedding or wants you to set up a glamping tent at their wedding and then wants me to do their makeup for their wedding.
Yeah, so you have a whole
they're
business.
all of our cousin.
We show up in the same carny van.
Yeah. So how do you manage friends and family discounts, stuff like that? People asking you even like, I'm your family, I'm your friend, this for free, you know. I feel like you have kind of a mindset shift around that.
I think what's hard is like, especially, I don't know if it's just culture around here, but there's this mentality of because they're my friend or because they're my family, I'm going to get a really good deal or I'm going to get this for free. And I think what's sad is it really should be the opposite. So if you're a friend or a family member and you want to use the service of somebody that's maybe doing a side hustle or just starting their business, you should pay more, honestly. Yeah. You should be supporting them. You should be their biggest supporters, not like their biggest moochers. But, you know, and the thing too is like when you get started, the only people approaching you is friends and family. So you're already automatically in this really uncomfortable situation where you're like, well, it's probably only going to be friends and family who want to hire me anyway. And they're probably doing this because out of pity.
I feel bad
so
for
I
me.
probably should just charge them next to nothing because like, I don't want to offend them because they're friends and family and I love them. And at the same time, you do want to be generous and give them a discount and stuff like that too. You just don't know how much of a discount. And so my advice, and this is something I'm still haven't even done yet, is if you want to do this, have a friends and family discount on your price sheet.
Yes.
Or a secret price sheet for friends and family that's maybe 10% off, 15% off, however much of a discount you want to give to your friends and family, but set it on a form and keep it solid. Otherwise, don't offer a friends and family discount. And, you know, because honestly, I think the culture should be if you're friends or family with somebody that's trying to grow a small business,
support them.
You should be supporting them, you know?
Yeah, we talked about that. And I was like, because, you know, I love to get something for free or a discount.
I can say that again.
I understand. You know, I don't swipe my debit card. These two were talking about me on the last episode. Okay, no. So I had never thought about it, and I guess in that way, like paying more to your friend or family is like a really great way to support them. Like you're saying, like I'm going to invest in your business, essentially is what people are saying. And so I think I need to do a better job at like remembering that. And then, like, if my mom asks for her makeup done, I'd be like, well, yours is going to be 100 because this is the friends and family uptick is what I'm going to call it. So.
Right. There's one thing that with my business, I've noticed friends and family, they're like, oh, thank you so much for doing that. I think they try to help me in my business. So I'll come over to their house and set up this tent. And it would take me half the time to set it up by myself than it would be to try to tell somebody how to help me.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'll have these people partaking and doing it. And I'm like, no, like this, I want to do this for you. Mm-hmm. Really just get out of my way so I can get my thing done and get out of here.
You're actually not helping.
You're not helping. So that's another thing for people just to realize is like, you try to support somebody by helping and maybe that's going to be cheaper because I'm helping, but actually
I think about
worse.
the one time you made, you were like really starting to do your tent and you had set up a camera and you were like time lapsing it because it's really cool to watch your tent get set up really fast, and the person came out there and wanted to like help you but didn't help, just like watched you right in front of your camera.
I know it.
It's just stuff like that,
Yeah, but also know that it's almost like
they think because they're putting labor in they shouldn't have paid you. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. It's you're not donating your time.
Put it up.
Yeah. Exactly. Or, if I said I would offer my services to you for free, it's kind of like a donations accepted type of thing. Like if you want to give me something towards it, that would be another offer you could do as a friend and family discount, like, oh, whatever you think, but actually donate.
Yeah.
Don't just say. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry. I agree.
That's good. It's really good. Yeah, that's a big one, especially as you're starting off, because it really is just friends and family when you do. So it just puts you in a weird situation. So I don't know. I think that's kind of been like a big struggle, I think, for me personally, just because I never really had like a pricing sheet for so long. Mm-hmm. So yeah, don't spend years getting taken advantage of.
Right. I want to talk to you guys. How are people paying you? Because that's another thing when you're starting out with business. Like, how are people paying you? How are you accepting payment? Mm-hmm. Is it through Venmo? Is it Square? People have those Square devices, point of sales that you can attach to your phone. How are you collecting money?
My big one's probably PayPal. Mm-hmm. And then second would be like Venmo or Cash App. Mm-hmm. So one of those three. Yeah. That's pretty much it for me. Especially if it's like a online thing. If I'm doing like a video for somebody, I just do PayPal. That seems like the easiest. And they can track all your like earnings, so you can like submit that to your accountant and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it just makes it easy.
How did Temu pay you?
PayPal.
So I set up a separate account for my glamping business just because I wanted to keep it separate from my personal, even though I'm like a sole proprietor, like I don't have an LLC or anything for it. Like I just set up a separate bank account. So then I could make sure I knew actually how much was coming in from that. I set up auto books as well, which was really interesting. And I make my customers pay 50% upfront and 50% after the service is done. So that kind of, in order to secure the tents, like you have to give me some kind of deposit. Otherwise, I can't rebook them that weekend if they decide that they don't want to do it anymore. So I also think it's really important to create policies right away. Just like, okay, if it rains today, same with you. Like if you need a backup spot for photography, right? If you're taking people's pictures, or even like,
I don't think I need a policy.
Well, I think, think about it, Ashley. If you go to somebody's prom and all of a sudden they're not going to prom anymore and you still saved your weekend out of a Saturday, like you should be able to get paid for that. Right? I mean,
true, but I just see, guys, I'm just not there yet emotionally with that.
So she still has imposter syndrome.
I don't do anything on the weekend anyway.
I don't do anything on the weekend anyway.
You know what? People pay me Venmo, check, and cold hard cash. Yeah. And I get tipped. I appreciate that people tip me. I think they are like, wow, you are really cheap. They feel bad for me. So last time these moms gave me some nice tips on my chest.
Oh, that's good.
That's really sweet.
hey, I'll accept any form of currency.
Well, that's so good. Auto Books has been a lifesaver for me from the bank website or the mobile app for not only setting my pricing, but getting invoices and getting paid. Like I can accept credit cards with it too, which is pretty great.
Yeah, that is really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just set up my Auto Books with all of the pricing and stuff too. So I haven't used it yet, but I'm excited to do that for photography stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like we started this episode talking about like our emotional lows with this, and then we talked about the tools and how to price and build your confidence around all of this. So I think we should close out this episode with talking about some moments that you've had doing your side hustle that have given you actual confidence and have been the right type of customer, and like what was your experience with them and how did they respond to your product or your service?
So I love reviews. And I have a social media page, and I did this big festival event, and I got the best review. And it was one of the bands had stayed in one of my tents, and they're like, oh my gosh, she thought of everything. She had a hangover kit. She had a fan on the ceiling of the roof, like all these extra things that I went above and beyond to provide for them so they were comfortable. The review meant everything. I think if you can give a small business anything, it would be support online with the review.
That's good.
Yeah. What about you guys? What are some of the big confidence boosters you've had?
I think for me, like, for example, like if I'm doing like a video for a product or a company or something, I'm like, oh, that was horrible. And then I submit it. I'm like, oh, they're going to hate it. When they come back and they want to use me again, I'm like, they liked me. They really liked me.
Jared, can you please tell the Lexi Temu story?
Okay. So I did a video for Temu, a sponsored video, and it was great. It was like a really good paying. And I did like a hutch. It was a great hutch, like closet type thing. And I made a video about it. But Lexi was like, so I was scrolling through Instagram, and there was this one video that was like, don't buy this thing from Temu, it burnt my house down. And then the next video was me being like, buy this hutch.
So you might want to align with the affiliates a little bit more. I don't know, Jared.
Yeah. But,
Oh my gosh, that's the
but
best
I will
story.
say I genuinely liked the product. And that's another thing too, is like, I will only partner with brands that like I genuinely believe in. And that's the thing too, like we were talking about like your ideal customer, or if you're doing video or whatever it is, like partner with people and businesses or products that like you genuinely believe in. Don't waste your time to like invest or to do something that you just, it's not you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because I feel like people can see that in
They
like
can.
you can tell like influencing has changed so much. Like you can
Yeah.
look at someone and be like, I know you don't like that or use that product.
Yeah.
But I
Why
can
are you
confidently
wearing
say
that?
everything
Yeah.
I've partnered with, I've genuinely have been so like pleased with and love, and it's not burned my house down. So whatever, Lexi.
Oh, that is the best story I've ever heard.
What's yours, Ashley? What's your confidence boost?
Oh, for me, it's like, so I do a lot of like homecoming makeup. So I do like a lot of high school girls makeup, and it's so funny because all of them are so shy and like quiet, and like they really don't do, a lot of them that I've done, they're not good at makeup or they don't wear a lot of makeup. And so I would say one is these two girls I just did, they wanted fake eyelashes. They've never had fake eyelashes on, and they like turned around in the mirror and literally like grabbed their mouth and were like, oh my gosh, and they're like running around the house together, like taking all these pictures of themselves. Like, you know, that's like an indication, well, I feel beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think there's nothing better than being a young girl, when you're like impressionable and you're going through high school and changing, and like you're so self-conscious. And so to like make people feel so beautiful is like, I'm like, oh, I did a good job. And then this other girl, I mean, she was so quiet when I was doing her makeup. Like, honestly seemed like not very happy, not excited to go, like wouldn't even talk about
So
it.
Ashley's breaking out in
So
hives.
I'm like,
this girl does not like this.
I like reek of BO when I'm doing makeup, because I'm like,
You just want them to like what you're doing.
oh my gosh. And like, you know, you get in your head. But then she turned around in the mirror, was like, oh my gosh. And was like, gave me like the biggest hug and was like, like jaw on the floor. I was like, I can't believe I made you feel this way. Aww. And then just like the moms they're nice because I've had some experiences where the mom will text me and be like, I have not seen my girl have this much confidence. I'm like,
yeah.
So it's those moments for me, you know. I don't have a Google review. I don't have all of this stuff. But for me, it's like those moments. And then when they shared the pictures of them on social media and like tagged me in it and just like, Ashley took such great care of us, like blah, blah, blah. And they say that they're going to use me again. And people rebook me. So I'm like, I guess I didn't make you look horrible.
Right.
Yeah. You liked it.
You like me, don't
like
you?
If someone like a picture that I took of them is like their profile photo or something, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I think Jill, you did that.
It's my profile picture right now.
Jill, like the photo.
Everybody
I do.
It's the best feeling ever.
Jared's our photographer, so. Well, I love it. Well, hopefully people have gotten some confidence from this conversation in their pricing.
Yeah.
Because
I hope so too.
you need to get paid what you're worth, and otherwise, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final piece of advice. I think it's okay to just, if someone says no to you, that's fine.
Sometimes no is the best.
Yeah. I had some people say like, oh, they ghost me.
Same. Ghosted.
They
Quiet.
ghost me. And that's okay.
I remember one time in the last story, it was Christmas season. Busy. Every weekend, everything's planned. Someone asked me if I would decorate their house for Christmas and how much I would charge. I was like, I don't know. And then Jill, you like throw this price. You're like, you're worth this. Yep. You're busy. You should throw this price out or whatever. So I was like, you know what, Jill, you're right. So I texted the person. I was like, this much, nothing. But I will tell you, I felt so relieved because I was like, I am so busy. And like, if I had said like a really low ball price and then agreed to do something like that, I would have felt more drained.
Yeah.
And so I'm really proud of the fact that I listened to your advice and offered that price, because if they had said yes, that price, then I would have been like, okay, that feels good enough for me.
It would have been a happy job.
Would have been a happy job because I'm getting paid what I'm worth. But I will say the relief of them saying no actually felt good. It was the first time I think I'd ever been like rejected. It was great.
It's great. It felt good.
It's like Jill.
Boosted your confidence.
I feel so much better after doing this episode.
I know. But
good stuff.
any last thoughts, you guys, that you want to leave with people?
Keep pursuing it. Keep pursuing that side hustle. Believe in yourself.
Yeah. Get those prices nailed down, and it's okay to change them. It's okay to lower them. It's okay to make them higher. Like, just get something and just use ChatGPT. Final advice. Just do it.
For real. Yep.
Set your prices. Well, we hope you have enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week.
So, Jill, where do we go from here?
Be sure to check out our show notes for this episode, and also be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.